A leaked video from 1999 shows what appears to be a young actress describing blood rituals she participated in while trying to break into the industry, and a 40-foot owl statue in a Northern California redwood forest has hosted fire ceremonies attended by presidents, CEOs, and Hollywood icons. For over a century, from secret recordings of ceremonies in private groves, to celebrity confessions about drinking blood for ritual purposes, to masked gatherings that inspired one of Stanley Kubrick's final films, the layers here go deep. So let's pull back the curtain on the rituals Hollywood does not want you to see. Every July, some of the most powerful men on the planet disappear into a 2,700-acre stretch of old-growth redwood forest in Sonoma County, California. The Bohemian Grove is a private campground owned by the Bohemian Club, an elite invitation-only social club founded in San Francisco in 1872. Each year in mid-July, the Grove hosts a gathering lasting more than 2 weeks, attended by invited members and guests from politics, business, and the arts. The names on the guest list read like a who's who of American power. Notable members or guests of the Bohemian Club include Clint Eastwood, Henry Kissinger, Walter Cronkite, Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, Charles Schwab, Ambrose Bierce, Bret Harte, Mark Twain, and Jack London. We are not talking about a casual camping trip. The encampment has become the primary watering hole for Republican administration officials, defense contractors, press barons, old-line Hollywood figures, and establishment intellectuals. And what do these men do when the cameras are gone and the gates are locked? The centerpiece event is something called the Cremation of Care. The Cremation of Care is an annual ritual production, written, produced, and performed by and for members of the Bohemian Club. It is staged at the Bohemian Grove near Monte Rio, California, in front of a 40-foot tall image of an owl at a small artificial lake amid a private old-growth grove of redwood trees. The dramatic performance is presented on the first night of the annual encampment as an allegorical banishing of worldly cares for the club members. That sounds harmless enough on paper, an allegorical banishing of worldly cares, a theatrical production for stressed-out power brokers. But what does it actually look like? The ceremony takes place in front of the Owl Shrine, a 40-foot hollow owl statue made of concrete over steel supports. The moss and lichen-covered statue simulates a natural rock formation, yet holds electrical and audio equipment within it. During the ceremony, a recording is used as the voice of the owl. For many years, the recorded voice was club guest Walter Cronkite. Music and pyrotechnics accompany the ritual for dramatic effect. Robed men, a towering owl statue that speaks fire chanting, the burning of an effigy in the middle of the night. In the 20th century, the members' retreat garnered a reputation for highly secretive and cultish rituals. Techniques accompany the ritual for dramatic effect. Robed men, a towering owl statue that speaks fire chanting, the burning of an effigy in the middle of the night. In the 20th century, the members' retreat garnered a reputation for highly secretive and cultish rituals, the most well-known of which is the Cremation of Care, instituted in 1881 as an opening ceremony, whose purpose is to make the club members carefree from the outset of the retreat. The ceremony has roots stretching back to the late 1800s. In 1878, the Bohemian Club first took to the woods in Taylorville, California. For a summer celebration they called Midsummer High Jinks. Poems were recited, songs were sung, and dramatic readings were given. In 1881, the ceremony of the Cremation of Care was first conducted. The ceremony was further expanded in 1893 by a member named Joseph D. Redding, with a Midsummer High Jinks entitled The Sacrifice in the Forest, or simply Druid Jinks, in which brotherly love and Christianity battled and won against paganism, converting the Druids away from bloody sacrifice. What started as a campfire send-off party in 1878 morphed over the following decades into an elaborate pyrotechnic-filled nighttime ceremony involving fire, effigies, robed participants, and invocations spoken through a giant concrete owl. The ritual language used in the ceremony is striking and visceral. In what appears to be a liturgy reading outside in the middle of the night, voices can be heard saying, "Not for thee the forgiveness or the restful grave. Fire shall have its will of thee, and all the winds make merry with thy dust." For the first 50 years of the club's existence, outsiders could get relatively close. In the first 50 years of the club's existence, the Bohemian Grove was comparatively accessible to outsiders, but in the 1930s, as the club gained influence and its redwoods provided a haven for Republican presidents, it grew quite secretive about its rituals and membership. You will not find the Grove on public maps. But secrecy, especially secrecy practiced by the most powerful people in the world, breeds suspicion. In July 1989, spy writer Philip Weiss entered the Grove and remained there for 7 days while posing as a guest. His article, titled Inside the Bohemian Grove, was published in November 1989. Then came a far more explosive infiltration. Radio host Alex Jones, alongside cameraman Mike Hansen, infiltrated the Bohemian Grove on July 15, 2000, and filmed the cremation of care ceremony with a hidden camera. The footage became central to the Jones documentary Dark Secrets: Inside Bohemian Grove. Jones claimed what he witnessed was an ancient Canaanite, Luciferian, Babylon mystery religion ceremony. The footage he released showed hooded figures gathered by a lake in the dead of night, flames erupting in front of the owl statue, and a ceremony that looked nothing like a summer camp sing-along. Not everyone who attended agreed with that assessment. Documentary filmmaker John Ronson, who also covered the event, had a very different reaction. Writing in Them, Adventures with Extremists, Ronson offered his view of the cremation of care ritual. My lasting impression was of an all-pervading sense of immaturity. The Elvis impersonators, the pseudo-pagan spooky rituals, the heavy drinking. These people might have reached the apex of their professions, but emotionally they seemed trapped in their college years. Richard Nixon, for his part, was even more dismissive. One example was President Richard Nixon's comments from a May 13, 1971, tape recording, "The Bohemian Grove, which I attend from time to time. It is the most faggy, goddamned thing you could ever imagine, with that San Francisco crowd. An overgrown frat party or something far darker. The interpretations diverge wildly, but here is what cannot be dismissed. The Grove is known for hosting a meeting related to early planning of the Manhattan Project in September 1942. Participants included Ernest Lawrence and J. Robert Oppenheimer, along with members of the S1 Executive Committee and representatives from major universities, industry, and the U.S. military. The discussions held there contributed to the broader development of the atomic bomb. The atomic bomb was partly hatched inside these redwoods. Whatever else the Grove may be, a theatrical camp, a networking retreat, or a ceremonial gathering of the ultra-elite, the decisions made there have shaped the world. In February 2026, the privacy the Bohemian Club had guarded for nearly 150 years was cracked wide open. On a chilly February morning in 2026, the world got a rare peek inside one of America's most secretive institutions, Bohemian Grove. For nearly 150 years, the all-male Bohemian Club has drawn presidents, billionaires, tech moguls, and celebrities into its redwood-shrouded retreat in Sonoma County, California. But the club's ironclad privacy was shattered when independent journalist Daniel Boguslaw published a leaked 2023 membership list naming more than 2,200 attendees. 2,200 names: politicians, tech billionaires, media titans, and yes, Hollywood figures. The curtain was pulled back further than ever before, and then celebrities started talking. Musician Kid Rock shared his own experience at Bohemian Grove, seeing celebrities and politicians there with odd practices like worshiping an owl statue and insinuating that he needed to perform a certain way if he'd like to stay in good graces with them. Stay in good graces, an interesting phrase. It implies something transactional. It implies that access, inclusion, and favor within this circle come with conditions that go beyond networking and handshakes. While the Bohemian Grove operates in the forests of Northern California, the allegations about rituals inside Hollywood itself are more intimate and more disturbing. In the late 1990s, a recording surfaced that would become one of the most discussed pieces of alleged evidence in the history of Hollywood conspiracy. In 1999, an anonymous source secretly filmed Angelina Jolie, then aged 23, speaking to two close friends about Illuminati initiation rituals she had recently taken part in while attempting to establish herself in Hollywood. According to Dom Lucre and others online, a 1998 video shows Angelina Jolie at age 23, secretly filmed while talking to a friend about disgusting initiation rituals she had taken part in allegedly to establish herself in Hollywood. The content of the conversation, as circulated online, is jarring. In 1998, a whistleblower secretly filmed Angelina Jolie, at 23, speaking to two close friends about the initiation rituals she had recently taken part in, while attempting to establish herself in Hollywood. Jolie described in detail the blood ritual celebrities had to go through. The woman in the video, and here a critical caveat must be noted, While the video does appear to show someone who looks like Angelina Jolie, we cannot confirm with complete certainty it is Jolie. We also note the video is short, and the entire context of this discussion is not known. What we do know is that the person in the recording describes ceremonies involving blood, compromising material, and what appears to be a system designed to bind participants through shared transgression. She says she has compromising pictures of other people who are implied to have participated in the ritual as well. She also says she would like to encourage all different types of celebrities. The tape resurfaced in 2024 with renewed vigor when online commentator Dom Lucre shared it, racking up millions of views. The timing was notable. It coincided with a broader cultural reckoning about what goes on behind closed doors in the entertainment industry. Whether the person in the video is who people claim, the description aligns with a pattern that other public figures have independently corroborated. Comedian Cat Williams suggested to Joe Rogan that he could see certain cultural agendas forming years before they materialized, and he mentions one of the reasons for this and other odd agendas by celebrities came along because of worship of the Goatman demon, Baphomet. And then there's the case of Megan Fox, which requires no leaked footage because the actress said it herself. Megan Fox has confirmed what has been whispered for decades, not as a metaphor, not as a joke, but as a ritual. In an interview with Glamour magazine, she admitted she drinks blood for ritual purposes. Think about that for a moment. A mainstream Hollywood actress in a mainstream magazine, openly discussing drinking blood for ritual purposes, not hidden away in some leaked recording or whisper network. Published in Glamour, available for anyone to read, Fox went further in public comments about her relationship with musician Machine Gun Kelly. Machine Gun Kelly, her partner, is another prime example. She admitted that a demonic spirit hovers over him. This is possession, and it is deliberate. Here we see a shift from allegations whispered in dark corners to statements made in the open, almost casually, as if the cultural window for this sort of admission has been deliberately widened over time. The blood ritual that was once the subject of conspiracy forums is now discussed on magazine covers with the same tone one might use to describe a new diet. The question that follows naturally, if this is what they are willing to say publicly, what remains hidden? The intersection between Hollywood, political power, and ritual symbolism found its most explosive public collision point in 2016, and it involved a performance artist named Marina Abramovich. Spirit cooking is an avant-garde performance and a set of poetic recipes created by Marina Abramovich in the 1990s that use ritual language and provocative imagery. When the WikiLeaks email dump of 2016 revealed correspondence between Abramovich and Tony Podesta, the brother of Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman John Podesta, the internet erupted. An email Abramovich wrote to her long-term friend and collector Tony Podesta showed up in a WikiLeaks stash. In the email, Abramovich invited Podesta's brother John, now Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, to join them at a spirit cooking dinner in her apartment in New York. The original spirit cooking work is rooted in Abramovich's 1996 performance in an Italian gallery. Spirit cooking is nothing but a little-known performance Abramovich did in an Italian gallery in 1996. In which she painted apparent instructions on the white wall with pig's blood. Instructions like, with a sharp knife cut deeply into the middle finger of your left hand, eat the pain. The imagery, blood on walls, instructions about bodily fluids, cryptic ritual language, was explosive when placed alongside the names of powerful political operatives. During the 2016 US election, leaked emails and sensational coverage transformed spirit cooking into a viral conspiracy, with claims that Abramovich and political figures were conducting satanic or criminal rites. Many famous celebrities have attended these public events, among the most notable being Lady Gaga, Will Ferrell, Hugh Jackman, and Jay-Z. The celebrity connections turned what might have been an obscure art world footnote into a cultural firestorm. The 2011 Museum of Contemporary Art Gala in Los Angeles is perhaps the most visually striking example. Marina Abramovich was asked to design the look and feel of the gala, attended by roughly 800 glitterati of the Los Angeles art world and entertainment industry, for those sitting at the round tables reserved for $100,000 ticket holders, like then California Governor Jerry Brown and then LA Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa. The centerpieces were rotating platforms. Upon each, a live nude woman was draped with a life-sized human skeleton. Photos from that gala show Hollywood's elite, cutting into life-sized cakes shaped to look like human bodies, eating them piece by piece at candlelit tables in a room designed to evoke a ceremonial atmosphere. For those inclined to see ritual, the optics were unmistakable. For those inclined to see art, it was provocation by design. Abramovich herself has consistently maintained that her work is artistic and metaphorical. As Abramovich said at London's Royal Festival Hall in a launch event for her new memoir Walk Through Walls, "It's just poetry." She has stated that the dinners were ordinary social events wrapped in her particular dramatic idiom. Abramovich herself and multiple reporters noted that what was presented in headlines as spirit cooking dinners were ordinary social events or performances framed by the dramatic language of her oeuvre, not evidence of organized criminal ritual. And yet there is a tension within her own words that researchers have seized upon. Abramovich herself describes such private occult rituals. In spiritual circles or private house or on TV shows, it is not art. The intention, the context for what is made, and where it is made defines what art is or not. So when it is in a gallery, it is art. When it is done privately, in a spiritual circle, in someone's home, it is something else. Her own framework for distinguishing between the two makes the question of what happens behind closed doors even more pressing. The broader pattern here is what matters. Whether one views Abramovich as a provocative artist misunderstood by the masses, or as a facilitator of ritualistic practices for the elite, the fact remains, the most powerful people in entertainment, politics, and finance have been drawn to gatherings that use the symbolism of blood, bodily sacrifice, and ceremonial invocation. The question of what that symbolism means to them, metaphor or mechanism, is the question that refuses to die. If any single film captures the essence of what people mean when they talk about Hollywood rituals, it is Stanley Kubrick's 1999 masterwork, Eyes Wide Shut. Eyes Wide Shut is a tale ahead of its time, questioning monogamy and the sanctity of marriage, back at a time when a strong heterosexual family unit was applauded in media. It's also the token film of reference for those who believe the world is run by an elite secret society, who participate in ritualistic orgies. The film stars Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, who were married at the time of filming, as a wealthy Manhattan couple drawn into a world of masked ceremonies, sexual rituals, and dangerous power structures. Its casting in particular subverted the expectation of less versed cinema-goers at the time, expecting a straightforward, perhaps vaguely erotic thriller, typical of the 1990s, but instead getting a slow-burning psychosexual odyssey hinting at Illuminati rituals. At the heart of the film is a scene that has become iconic. A masked ritual ceremony in a grand mansion, where robed and masked figures engage in sexualized rites, while a cloaked figure presides over the proceedings. A mixture of Eastern textures and reversed Catholic verses. The reversed Catholic liturgy playing over images of masked elites conducting sexual rituals in a grand estate. Kubrick was not subtle about what he was depicting. He was showing his audience something, and every detail was chosen with painstaking precision. At 15 months, the shoot for Eyes Wide Shut is included in the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest constant movie shoot of any motion picture in the history of Hollywood, which included an unbroken span of 46 weeks. This was not a filmmaker rushing through a thriller. This was a man building something meticulous, frame by frame, symbol by symbol. The parallels to real-world elite gatherings are hard to ignore. Hellfire clubs were said to be meeting places of persons of quality who wished to take part in immoral acts, and the members were often very involved in politics. According to a number of sources, their activities included mock religious ceremonies, devil worship, and occult rituals. Although details are vague regarding that elite club, they were known for performing elementary satanic rites as a prelude to their nights of fornication. These acts were not just for fun or to shock people. The members were initiates of occult mysteries, and their rituals were based in ancient rites. Kubrick deliberately embedded occult symbolism throughout the film. The star at Ziegler's house is nearly identical to the ancient symbol of the Star of Ishtar. Knowing Kubrick's attention to detail, the inclusion of the Star of Ishtar at this party is not an accident. Ishtar is the Babylonian goddess of fertility, love, war, and mostly sexuality. Even the names carry weight. Is this Kubrick's way of saying that this man, who urges Alice to cheat on her husband, is a part of the occult elite and its decadent ways? It seems that the title itself, Eyes Wide Shut, amounts to a hooded and veiled nod to the occult. The film's constant references to secret societies and other esotericism all but confirm it. But the most unsettling detail surrounding the film has nothing to do with its content. and everything to do with its director. Stanley Kubrick unexpectedly died only 5 days after submitting the final cut of the movie to Warner Bros., making Eyes Wide Shut his swan song. Considering the fact that Eyes Wide Shut is about an occult secret society that eliminates those who cross its path, some theories arose about Kubrick's death and its suspicious nature. Did he reveal to the public too much, too soon? Only 4 days after Kubrick turned in the final cut of Eyes Wide Shut to Warner Bros., he was found dead by his wife. He had no heart trouble and wasn't ill before his sudden and shockingly unexpected death. The man who spent years constructing a film about elite secret rituals, a man known for demanding absolute control over his work, delivered his final cut and was dead within the week, raising questions about what the original, unaltered version contained. Kubrick had a disdain for Hollywood, which is why he shortly left the city of broken dreams, never to return again. He spent most of his later career working from England, far from the industry machine he seemed to hold in contempt, and his final film was a warning or a confession about what that machine actually is. The marriage of Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, the golden couple of Hollywood, did not survive the film. Nicole and Tom split up in 2001, only 2 years after the film was released in 1999. Whether the grueling production itself destroyed the relationship, or whether what Kubrick exposed them to during filming fundamentally changed how they saw each other and their industry, is a question only they can answer. If Bohemian Grove ceremonies happen in locked-down forests and blood rituals occur behind mansion walls, there is another category of ritual that operates in the most public setting imaginable: the stage. Celebrities are being accused of participating in humiliation rituals, following controversial moments at the 67th Annual Grammy Awards, where public acts of degradation are said to be part of a secretive process for gaining fame, wealth, or power. Conspiracy theorists claim these rituals involve provocative behavior orchestrated by secret societies like the Illuminati. Though unproven, these theories continue to circulate, particularly after high-profile events. The theory works like this. Hollywood humiliation rituals are secret initiation practices allegedly used by the entertainment elite to control celebrities. These public embarrassment moments, often disguised as PR stunts or scandals, are said to symbolize submission, from bizarre red carpet events to televised breakdowns. Many claim these rituals expose the hidden cost of fame and the dark side of Hollywood's occult influence. Consider the pattern. At the 2024 Oscars, John Cena appeared on stage without clothes. Even when John Cena ran on stage without clothes, some wondered if this could be a Bohemian Grove initiation practice. Whether it was intended as comedy, commentary, or something else entirely, the image of a major celebrity standing exposed before millions echoed something primal. Something that looked to many observers like deliberate degradation. The Grammys have become a recurring flashpoint. At this year's Grammys in Los Angeles, Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, and his wife Bianca Censori grabbed attention on the red carpet. Bianca, dressed in a floor-length fur coat, dramatically revealed a sheer slip dress underneath, leading to criticism and accusations of a humiliation ritual. This moment adds to previous instances where Bianca has been seen wearing minimal clothing. Conspiracy theorists alleged that the performance was, in fact, a real satanic ritual, orchestrated by an elite cult of Hollywood Satanists. Its supposed aim to morally subvert society by brainwashing and indoctrinating young people. There's a framework being proposed by people who study these patterns. Humiliation rituals. Celebrities often undergo symbolic reversals, taking roles or enduring scandals that undermine their iconic personas. Archetypal inversion. Masculine heroes are mocked or emasculated. Feminine archetypes are masculinized or stripped down. Ritual deaths. Public deaths or disappearances serve as symbolic sacrifices, just like a celebrity has to go through humiliation before the next phase. Franchises and myths must be torn down before being rebuilt under new control. The through line is that these cycles of humiliation, inversion, and destruction serve as both control mechanisms for the actors and cultural engineering for the masses. Take the case of Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig, who one would fairly argue found massive critical and artistic success becoming the iconic international spy for a number of films, and then the next film that he does, he plays a character that is the complete opposite, which essentially has a canceling effect on the strength and fortitude and masculinity of the character he played to worldwide audiences for so long. The hero becomes the clown the powerful figure is reduced, the tough guy is feminized. This pattern repeats with such regularity across Hollywood that dismissing it as coincidence requires ignoring an enormous amount of data. DaBaby, the rapper who saw his career stall after controversy, has publicly stated that humiliation rituals are real. Cat Williams on Joe Rogan's podcast laid out the framework with characteristic bluntness, suggesting he could see transgenderism would become a cultural norm years before it ever did. He mentions one of the reasons for this and other odd agendas by celebrities came along because of worship of the goat man demon, Baphomet. These are not fringe voices. These are people who have been inside the machine and are describing its internal mechanics. So here is where we land after examining the evidence. Are the rituals of Hollywood real? The facts are not in dispute. The Bohemian Grove exists. The most infamous of these rituals is the cremation of care ceremony, where robed members gather before the giant owl and burn an effigy called Care to symbolically cast off worldly burdens. The ceremony has been filmed. The membership list has been leaked. Presidents and Hollywood icons have attended. Spirit cooking exists. Abramovich did paint instructions on a gallery wall with pig's blood. Celebrities did attend her gatherings. The imagery is unmistakable, regardless of how one interprets its intent. Megan Fox publicly stated she drinks blood for ritual purposes. Angelina Jolie, or someone who looks very much like her, was recorded describing initiation rituals in the late 1990s. Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut depicted elite masked ceremonies, and its director died days after delivering the final cut. Humiliation rituals play out on the world's biggest stages, the Grammys, the Oscars, red carpets, with a frequency and consistency that strains any explanation rooted purely in coincidence. What remains genuinely contested is the meaning behind these events. Some of the most credible observers who have actually been inside the Bohemian Grove walked away describing it as absurd theater. The reality is, it is no different than being in any other club. There's liquor, there's music, there's a fellowship, and the satanic panic of the 1980s and 1990s serves as a cautionary tale. In the 1980s and 1990s, there was a mass Satanism scare in the US and UK, which became known as the Satanic Panic. This episode saw many people falsely accused, arrested, and at times convicted of satanic abuse. To this day, courts are still working through exonerating those falsely accused. In one case, a US couple spent 21 years in prison after being found guilty of satanic ritual abuse. Their conviction was eventually overturned due to the faulty witness testimony. The consequences of unfounded accusations are real. People have lost years of their lives because of the fervor surrounding satanic abuse, claims that turned out to be baseless. But here's the counterpoint that is equally difficult to dismiss. The very same powerful people who attend ceremonies involving fire, effigies, robed figures, owl statues, blood-painted walls, and masked gatherings in mansions also shape the culture that billions of people consume daily. Whether they believe the rituals are real or not is, in some sense, beside the point. The symbolism they choose to surround themselves with, the ceremonies they choose to participate in, and the imagery they embed in the entertainment they produce. All of this communicates something. And what it communicates has remained remarkably consistent for over a century. The stage as a ceremonial altar for religious invocation is not novel, but a genuine tradition that has continued unabated from the Renaissance era to the present. The line between theater and ritual has always been thinner than we are comfortable admitting, and when the people performing the theater are the same people who run the world, that thin line starts to feel like no line at all. Maybe the rituals are exactly what the participants say they are: playful, theatrical, symbolic, and harmless. But when the most powerful people on Earth choose to spend their leisure time performing ceremonies involving fire, effigies, blood, and masks, in secret, behind locked gates in forests you cannot find on a map, the burden of proof does not rest on those asking questions. It rests on those who keep the gates locked.